If you are a notary public looking to make more money with your notary commission, you're gonna wanna watch this video because I am here at the National Notary Association headquarters here in Los Angeles because I wanna find out more about SigningAgent.com. How can SigningAgent.com make more money for you as a notary public? We all know once you get NNA certified, you get automatic listing into SigningAgent.com, but what does that mean? Who uses SigningAgent.com? If SnapDocs and Signing Order and NotarDash already get the Signing Agent list from the NNA, what value does SigningAgent.com bring you? So I get this question all the time. So I figure I would just go to the source directly here at the National Notary Association and ask these very questions. So I'm excited about doing a deep dive into SigningAgent.com and helping you figure out how to make more money with something you already have access to. I'm so excited. We are inside the headquarters of the National Notary Association here with the amazing Susie. Lady needs very little introduction if you've been around any of the NNA content, but please, Susie, break it down.
Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to have LSS Nation in the house
Let's
today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Susie Sivkov, and I'm a product manager here at the National Notary Association. I've been all over the place here 20 years now, and now I work mostly with our virtual events and all of our social media videos, and we just we want to make sure that everybody out there understands who we are, what we're about, and why it's important.
Well, that is a perfect segue on today's video because we're going to talk about why SigningAgent.com is important. Every notary, signing agent, NNA certified knows that when you become NNA certified, SnapDocs gets that list, Signing Order gets that list, every signing service gets that list. But they really kind of don't understand why SigningAgent.com as a profile, as a database, as a directory, that why they should pay attention to it. So in this video today, we're gonna break that down. We're gonna get behind the scenes look directly from a 20-year NNA employee, but someone who really knows what she's doing within the organization. Because again, my goal here is to help them make money with something that they already have. Like they already have a SigningAgent.com profile.
Right.
But again, why should they pay attention to it? Why does it matter? How does it make you more money? Let's deep dive into that right now.
We're excited.
The purpose of today's conversation is what business are they missing? What money are they missing by not really paying attention to their SigningAgent.com profile, filling it out, taking the SigningAgent.com profile as serious as they would their SnapDocs profile. So, you ready to get started?
I'm ready.
All right, cool. What is SigningAgent.com?
So SigningAgent.com is a directory where people can find notaries. It's a public directory.
Got it.
Mostly for notary signing agents, but we have seen it show up a little bit for general notary work as well. But the origin of SigningAgent.com was actually a bunch of financial institutions got together and said, we need to find a standard for the notaries we send to people's homes, the notaries that encounter these important documents for people's monies exchange. We need a central place to find vetted notaries. And so they set up a standard where there's a background screening, as you know, where there's a certification process based on SPW requirements, so that all of the notaries that are on SigningAgent.com are legit.
Got it.
Too legit
to quit. Hey, hey.
Too legit to quit.
So I think that's a very important part, though, of this conversation is realizing that SigningAgent.com was birthed out of financial institutions needing a vetted place for notaries. We're going to circle back to why that's important for you to understand. But again, this wasn't necessarily an NNA idea.
No.
This was the NNA just was basically the vehicle to create it. But this was really created by people who created the SPW. Top of your head, who are some companies that created the SPW, or not top of your head, in your phone?
Fidelity, Title, First American, Notary Go, Westcor, Closing Exchange, Amrock, Boston National Title, Mortgage Connect, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, City Mortgage, US Bank. Like all of these have been players in trying to make sure that we create the best standards for any notary signing agents that are going out there and doing the work.
Cool. Well, let's talk about the verification source part now. Again, I think a lot of you understand that SnapDocs utilizes your API or your list for less easier way to say that, they can just double check to make sure you're not lying. So when you say I'm NNA certified, NNA background screen, they would go and use that as a verification source. How does SigningAgent.com work?
So SigningAgent.com, like I said, is something that's publicly accessible. So anybody that wanted to say, I need a notary in such and such an area for this signing, or for any kind of general notary work, they can actually use that as a search engine to find a good notary that's qualified and vetted, like we said. So it works from that standpoint. It also works for the notary. If somebody is a notary is a certified signing agent on SigningAgent.com, they have a specific profile. They have a URL for their profile, and we've seen a lot of notaries who use that URL for their specific profile as their business website, paid advertising to push that. So, the more you fill out that profile, obviously, the more information you're providing about the business that you provide. Okay,
so A, you said public, B, you said notary. Let's go a little more deeper than that. So who has access to the list, who uses the list would be some of the SPW companies, so Fidelity. Let's go one layer deeper, or maybe to the side of that is, if anybody owns a signing service, they can utilize it. Who has access to the API so they can cross-reference that list? Does anybody do?
Anybody that wants to subscribe to it.
Subscribe to my question. So anybody too.
Yes.
So again, I think that's important because you could be a one-person signing service and still get access to that if they subscribe to the API list, because it's essentially public to anybody who requests it.
And what's great about that, it's not like a list that we're printing out and sending. It's just constantly kept current in that platform digitally and protected. So there's a lot of security around it. Is it safe to say B of A uses it independently of a title company? I mean, they may have a database of the notaries that they typically use, but if they need to build that database up more, or they need to find a notary in an area where they don't have anybody listed, then they're going to do that search automatically to and find that independently.
How many independent searches happen on SigningAgent.com outside of a SnapDocs, for a Notary Dash, a signing notary? How many more?
Tens of thousands, Mark. That's what a lot of notary signing agents don't realize. That's right. They just fill out the basic information for their profile, thinking, it's just going to go directly to these APIs. But there are so many out there that, actually, for an example, I had to have some mortgage paperwork done. For myself personally, the documents were sent from South Carolina to me here in California, and I had to find my own mobile notary. Where did I go? To the source, SigningAgent.com.
But I think I shouldn't say more importantly, because you are important, Susie.
More importantly than just you as an individual.
A Wells Fargo employee, a personal banker, someone who comes in with an auto loan that needs to be signed off on, if they need to recommend a notary, because Wells Fargo is part of the SPW, that banker will then use SigningAgent.com to find the notary to fulfill that notarial thing if the bank doesn't have a notary on staff that day. But that is why she said tens of thousands of independent searches happen on SigningAgent.com. And so that is, if you're watching, that is where you're missing out. So when we're going to get to the profiles and filling it out, but if you're not taking your SigningAgent.com profile seriously, you're missing out on the tens of thousands of independent searches outside of title companies who are using it on a monthly basis. Is that correct?
Yes, and there are plenty of smaller independent offices, financial institutions that maybe aren't subscribed to the API, that still use our search engine daily to find their notaries. Yeah, and what I'm trying to bridge here is why there's so many independent searches outside of just title companies, and you answered it. But if you're not filling out your profile completely and putting as much good stuff in that profile as you can, then you might be missing opportunities. There's no might be missing opportunities. You're missing tens of thousands of searches that go on monthly and yearly through SigningAgent.com. Again, I wanted to bring this to light, is I don't think people realize that. That's why I come in behind the scenes, only give you information only that I can. And SigningAgent.com is such a massive website that it pulls up in natural searches. Right, well, that's what I was going to say too. If I'm going to Google and try to find that notary signing agent, that's going to be one of the first things that pops up. If I am in the industry in any way and know anything about what's happening in the industry of signing agents, then I'm going to know that this is the elite place, this is the preferred place that all of the leading companies go to. So that's where I'm going to go to. And not only that, I know that these are the notaries that have been certified, have been vetted. The fact that you guys are sharing with everyone that there's so many searches that
they need to start realizing they're losing money on if you're not taking the profile seriously.
For sure.
What recommendations would you give them on how to fill out their profile so they could get that phone call when one of these thousands of searches are going?
So some inside information, okay? First of all, if you just have a background screening, great. Now you're on SigningAgent.com, right? But if you have taken the certification test, then that's going to up your game, and you're going to be listed higher up on the search engine list, okay? And then if you've had the training as well, then that's just going to up your game a little bit more. It's not like, oh, I'm going to try to pay to be more up on top of the list in a preferred way. This is something you have to earn by learning and continuing that training and taking the test.
You said you can't pay to be on top of the search rankings. So let's dive into that, because since you're not monetizing the notary, it's truly a fair algorithm where whoever is the most certifications, the most qualifications, gets the more higher ranked searching. So if you're really looking for a database that really, what I would argue, levels the playing field and really gives appointments based on, or gives search results based on earning it, to your point, I think it's really cool because, again, you could be a super qualified notary, but not be in the search results of 123 Notary because you're not paying them.
So yeah, I don't know how the other ones work.
Well, I do. Yes,
But I do know that with the NNA, it's about having the qualifications. We want to make sure that you're educated and you're practicing with the highest standards of care.
Because one of my questions here is, how does a notary move up? Can they pay to move up? And the answer is no, they can't pay, because some of the other databases you can pay to play. And again, everyone needs to make money. I'm not talking down about it. I'm just making the fact that on some databases they can get searched result first because they paid for it, and you can't with that. So it's a great comment. So you said it real quickly. I'm like, no, that's back out. So what I heard, just to recap, is getting NNA certified, getting a background check. What I didn't know is that you can get a background check without being NNA certified. But if you're an LSS community member, I encourage you to be NNA certified, and that comes one and the same.
And a lot of institutions want that certification because that exam is all around the SPW requirements.
That's right. Does the algorithm search keywords, meaning like, if someone has an 18-paragraph bio, does that help? Or is just kind of more the surface level stuff, location, address?
I don't think the algorithm's not that dynamic, but they do, you can check by radius of where you're trying to find someone. You can check by language preference. If you've been certified through the exam, or all of those types of basic. But then, of course, if somebody is looking for the most qualified notary, the more robust your profile is, the more it shows that you pay attention to detail and that you're the notary that wants the job. So you got to fill out that profile completely, including the what other things should we know about you? Oh, I've got the LSS certification, so I'm like, woo.
So sometimes, like in SnapDocs, if someone loves you, they can mark you preferred. So the next time they have a zip code, and signing that zip code, you come up first search algorithm. So
I thought you meant Mark preferred. This is a Mark Wills preferred notary.
No. So can an escrow officer be Mark preferred? Or can a signing agent, you got me all twisted, girl. Can a signing agent ask someone to mark them preferred in the search rankings? Or is it literally just closest to the signing, closest to the signing based on certifications uploaded is kind of how you guys do the search results?
Yes. So yes to that. But can I just also say something else about that? A lot of these companies, they use our search engine in one way or another to find qualified notaries. But if it's a notary they've used in the past, they also have a lot of these companies have their own personal scorecards for their notaries. So if you...
Okay, hold on, stop right there. This is good. So where does that scorecard live? Does it live on like a back end of SigningAgent.com?
It's not a part of SigningAgent.com. This is independent for each of these companies.
Okay, got it.
So if I'm ABC company, I'm going to use SigningAgent.com to find my notaries in the area, but then I'm going to cross-reference that to my database.
Got it.
And it's going to say, oh yeah, this notary is a 5-star because they showed up on time, they delivered the paperwork in time, they did the fax backs, they were dressed professionally, they were easy to communicate with. Or this notary is a 1 because they were like an hour late for the signing.
So let me ask you another continuing question on that point. And again, I don't know how signing services work, but signing services, can like leave remarks that are bad that other signing services can see. You don't have that with SigningAgent.com.
No, SigningAgent.com.
Okay, cool. And this is all just good qualifying questions for you. So that doesn't exist. So you can't be marked preferred, and you can't really have bad reviews being told about you behind the scenes. Again, trying to give as much information as you can. So that's all good news.
However, it doesn't mean that these companies don't communicate in different ways. And the scorecards, of course, if you're using the same title company, they're going to be able to reference your performance that way. Is
there check boxes for being multilingual?
Yes.
So they got to make sure you fill it out as big as possible because there are search criteria that they can be using.
In fact, the multilingual search is one of the most popular searches outside of the basics of certification and membership and all of that. So like especially the language, that's so essential. Like trying to find a notary you can communicate with the signer.
Basically, the person looking for the notary can search kind of like all the other classic signing agent databases by location, multilingual, their hours they work, because some people don't work hours, so you can search all that. So
the distance you're willing to go is something that is usually put in the notes as well. So
the coaching to you is out there watching this is be as detailed as you can. Because the search criteria is very, I love the word you used earlier, dynamic. And so SigningAgentcom is very dynamic from the user trying to find the notary. So again, what I love about this conversation is there's literally tens of thousands of searches yearly, monthly going on that aren't from SnapDocs, that aren't from Signing Order. Because honestly, you're not even tracking those because you're just giving them the API.
Yes.
And so you're telling the audience right now, there's tens of thousands of searches yearly and monthly that can help them get business, and they're losing business by just ignoring the signing agent profile.
Absolutely. And a lot of people, they find that safe spot. They're like, okay, I've done some work for this company, and so I'm going to just stick with, rely on, them and the fact that I know that they have. But they're it's time to venture out and find all the opportunities.
Well, until this conversation, people didn't realize how many independent searches there was. So I think this is really good news for the notary because everyone's really trying to maximize their money, and so to think that you're being overlooked because somebody in Rhode Island needs a notary in your area, but because you chose not to fully fill out your profile, someone else who did in your area on SigningAgent.com is getting that solely because you didn't take the time to fully fill out your profile, I think is a really eye-opener and profound part of this conversation. I mean, like US Bank and B of A and Wells Fargo, it makes sense to me that even the bank tellers who need to find a notary will go into there to find a notary to refer to one of the people because Wells Fargo makes everybody use SigningAgent.com.
And the landscape is constantly changing, and so these companies, even if they are connected to the API access, they're still going to be doing these extra searches to add to their database to find notaries in, like I said, other areas that they don't have the access.
Yeah, and I think a couple things to kind of reiterate is because a lot of signing agents, rightfully so, put the NNA certified logo on their business cards. Those logos are only as good as the verification of SigningAgent.com. So if you think that you can just throw on a logo and not be verified, you have another thing coming, basically. And so they're utilizing it to make sure that when you walk in on a direct business, that is true and accurate. And so what I love about SigningAgent.com specifically is it really is kind of a fair system. And again, I don't mean, and fair, by the way, I mean like, because in some signing agent databases, like a notary can make the smallest, most honest error. And then someone can just blow them up on the back end and cause them future business, not get future business. Where SigningAgent.com is like, look, we have the best qualified notaries, period. We're just a directory. We're not here to skew one way or the other. You can't pay for a listing. Like, you're going to be higher up on the algorithm search results because you have your NNA certification, because you have your background check, because you have a current notary commission. Is there a place for loan signing system students to put a certification? In
your profile, there is a place to say, tell us more about yourself. And that's where you definitely want to provide the other information like LSS certification or NNA membership, any of the other things that you feel like would be important to a hiring person, a contractor.
And what section was that again?
Tell us about yourself.
Tell us. Okay. Got it. So just kind of in their generic profile.
Yeah. I'm telling you what though, fill out the notes section and definitely provide that LSS certification because that's a big deal.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Hey, we were in the lobby earlier, and some LSS student walked in, and she thought she was just buying a journal today, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Mark Wells for LSS."
That was a really cool moment.
So cool.
It still gets me every time. So, I mean, look, and that's who I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help the LS community. And this is me on YouTube, so it's even if you're not LSS Nation, I hope everybody, member of the community, gets value from this. Because, I think everyone focuses on Notary Cafe or all the other Notary Rotary, 123 Notary, Notary Jane, whoever. But knowing that there's tens of thousands of independent searches is really, really cool. So in conclusion, in conclusion, there are tens of thousands of independent searches. And now you know why Wells Fargo, B of A, and City Mortgage use it independently of title companies when they need notaries, because they created it.
They asked for it.
That's
they
right.
wanted it.
They created
it.
That's right. Anyways, there's tens of thousands of opportunities every year, thousands and thousands every month that you can be making money off if you just would take your SigningAgent.com profile more serious. Is there anything you want to end with to help them maximize their money with SigningAgent.com?
Maximize your profile. Maximize your dedication and your effort to being a professional and well-trained and competent notary, and you will see the money come in. And the last thing I want to say is, Mark Wills, LSS, thank you so much for everything you do to support our notaries out there. You really do. You help them take that opportunity to the next level. So we appreciate all of that.
You're trying to make me cry. Thank you again to NNA. I mean, we're literally here at your office. You've opened it up. They bought us lunch. I mean, like, honestly, the synergy, the friendship, and it's just, thank you. It's all I got. It's just thank you, thank you, thank you. So with that being said, until next time, I believe in you, but I just can't believe in you more than you believe in yourself. Let's go!
Let's go!